Special edition of the AB4WS Radio Show. Hi, this is Jack Prindle, live from Big Bone, Kentucky, and we have a couple special guests with us today. First of all, we have Mark Williams, K9GX. He's the president of the Kentucky DX Association. Hello, Mark.
Hi, Jack. Thanks for having us today.
Okay. Also, we have Ann Pratt, the museum director of the Red Skelton Museum. Good afternoon, Ann.
Thank you.
We're here because of the work that Mark and Ann have done in promoting a K9R Red Skelton Museum and American Comedy event. Mark, you want to tell us about what you got planned for that event?
Well, Jack, I visited with a friend of mine. We were doing a road trip back in early March. My friend Paul, K9PG, and we decided to meet up in Vincennes. At the Red Skelton Museum, popped in there, called Ann on a Monday morning to ask her if she was open, and we said, yeah, we are. Came in, and I was so amazed at first of all, at Vincennes. Vincennes has the George Rogers Clark National Historic Park, the old cathedral, the old cathedral library. It's the oldest in Indiana. Grassland, which was the home of William Henry Harrison, and the Indiana Military Museum. And so the museum is absolutely wonderful. And Ann gave me some brochures and things all about the museum and Vincennes and all that. And as I went through that, I learned about the festival. And Ann, why don't you tell us all about everything you're going to be doing at the festival?
Sure. Well, this is our 16th annual festival, and it actually came into being prior to the museum even being open. The museum will only be open 8 years this summer. And so the festival initially started as a way to raise funds to get the museum open. And it's just kind of grown and changed over the years, but now it's sort of a 2-day event. And we usually do a big show on Friday night. This year, we have a Red Skelton impersonator, Brian Hoffman, out of Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, will be here. And then on Saturday, we have Parade, and it was originally billed as Parade of 1,000 Clowns. We don't quite have 1,000 clowns, but there are a lot of clowns in the parade. They come from all over, a lot of shrine clowns, a lot of clown alleys. And so it's a very colorful, fun parade, and that's in the morning. And then we have kids games and food vendors and different activities all day. We have a magician. We usually try to have some person talk about Red Skelton in some way. And this year we have a man actually from Kentucky, Bill Birchfield, and he was Red Skelton's light man when Red did live shows out in the Reno area. And so he'll be here talking about his time with Red. And it's just really kind of all about Red Skelton and just a time to get a lot of fans together. And this year, every year we introduce a new exhibit during the festival. And this year, the exhibit we're introducing is called Airwave Anniversaries. And it's about the 80th anniversary of Red Skelton's beginning on the radio and 70 years of his beginning on television. So when Mark had this idea about this ham radio special event, we thought it'd be really a great fit into our Airwave Anniversaries exhibit. So that's kind of a festival in a nutshell, I guess.
And Jack, the museum is incredible. They have displays now. The Airwaves Anniversary, and is that going to be in the section where his origami pictures were when we were there the last time? Is that where that is?
Yes.
Yes. They have rotating displays there. But Jack, the museum has everything from a number of Red's Emmys. They've got a sound booth in there with sound effects, and you walk in and you've got a script, and you've got 5 or 6 sound effects there on a button, and you're supposed to follow the script, and you make your own little video there. Like you're producing a television show, and it's fun. There are just so many wonderful things going on. And then on top of it, you've got this festival to celebrate Red's birthday, which will be July 18th. And right. So when I learned the story about everything that's going to be going on for the festival, I thought, what better than to get some ham radio? So I applied for K9R. We've got the K9R call sign authorized. You know, those special events are authorized for 2 weeks at a time. So we are authorized for July 4th through the 18th. I'm hoping right now we really need volunteers, especially that want to come on in your ham radio audience. We need volunteers that come on that want to actually operate the station in both sideband and CW. Also, I've already got one volunteer that's going to do FT8, that's going to do digital, and especially I'm looking for, and we've got the members of the Old Post Amateur Radio Society. They're in Vincennes. They're engaged. They're going to help us out. But I'm looking right now for volunteers that want to operate. We want to keep the on-the-air operation of K9R in the area there right around Vincennes. So that would be Knox, Sullivan, Greene, Davies, Pike, and Gibson County in Indiana, Lawrence, Crawford, Jasper, Richland, Edwards, and Wabash County in Illinois. And I invite you all to come to our Facebook group. That's the K9R Red Skelton Museum special event. Jump on that, just join it to keep up with all the things we're doing. But right now we need volunteers that want to come and operate radio. We plan on having a station set up at the museum. The Old Post Amateur Radio Society folks are going to help us with that. But and we're going to do that during museum hours from probably the 14th through the 17th or 18th. But for that whole 2-week period, I'd like to have operators operating from their shack or possibly the Club W9 EOC, their station. But we need operators who want to sign up, and we'll put out a schedule so we're coordinated and we know where, you know, who's going to be on CW, who's going to be on what band, so on and so forth during that whole week period. Because I'd like it if we could make 1,000 or 1,500 contacts over this whole thing. Of course, that depends on how propagation is. You never know.
Right. Well, if it's like it has been, you might have some good luck. Well, Mark, let's say if we got some operators that are interested in helping out and can be in that area during that time, or perhaps live in that area, how can they get a hold of you to volunteer for the event?
Okay, so that's a great question. So the Facebook group is the K9R Red Skelton Museum special event. That's a group on Facebook. Old Post Amateur Radio Society, but use that K9R Red Skelton Museum special event Facebook group. The email is k9rspecialevent@gmail.com. No spaces in that. It's all run together. We're also up on qrz.com. And get to me with send me all your information, your name, your call sign, your license class, an email, and a phone number, because we want to get as many people involved and on the air and come in, you know, and we sure wouldn't mind to have more people come in from out of town and visit us during the festival, would we?
We sure wouldn't. No, we love visitors. Last year was a rough year. We're ready for visitors.
I know. So, and Jack, Vincennes, Paul and I, during our visit, the George Rogers Clark National Park is amazing. The cemetery there around Fort Sackville, I mean, it's amazing history. The military, and we just barely touched on it. We were there a day and a half, and Vincennes is a wonderful place. I went over and had dinner at Ann's brother's pizza place. They got good food. And you know, the museum it's amazing on itself, but the museum isn't the only thing going on there.
Right. That's what it's hard to explain to people, because our town is really small. I mean, we're like 18,000 people, but there's just really a lot of history. Believe it or not, we were the first city ever in Indiana. Vincennes was founded in 1732. And the George Rogers Clark National Historical Park that Mark is referring to was it's a monument because they held the West during the Revolutionary War here in Vincennes. The French and the the American Indians banded together against the British to hold the West for the Patriots, I guess. So it's really got a lot of history here, which is fun.
And that monument there, that monument, and what you're telling me, that is the largest federal monument west of DC?
Yes, yes, it is. It's huge. It looks like the Lincoln Memorial. It's a great big rotunda with the giant columns. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. So there are lots of things to do. A great town. The folks and has a great staff of volunteers there. Mark Krasner is the museum curator. They welcomed me with, I wondered, and they didn't know who this guy was, this guy spouting ham radio stuff. And they welcomed me with open arms, and it's really a wonderful, wonderful experience. And you're going to have some special activities going on in the theater, aren't you, as well, Ann?
Yes, and I think I mentioned that as I was going through my whole big litany there. But the Red Skelton impersonator Brian Hoffman will be in the big theater. Bill Birchfield will be doing his magic show in the theater, as well as his talk about his time with Red. And then we'll be doing the Red Skelton Hour also in the theater. We'll be showing old Red Skelton TV shows in the theater as well during the festival.
How fun will that be? So Jack, all our on-the-air operations will be scheduled and coordinated. But I need the volunteers to get in now, because we want to get them set up. We're going to have, and Ann has a special collection of cards that we're going to set up as the QSL cards. So you will have a special, many of them will be one of a kind. Ann's gonna process. She has no idea what she's in for here, but she's gonna process the QSLs, put the stickers on. But we're gonna need volunteers to help with that. We may even, I've got to see if I can steal some things out of the gift shop, but we may have a little, I don't know if you can see my,
buttons. Yeah, we have a lot of things that we'll be able to send out for special prizes for different things that we'll be able to provide out of the museum gift store as well.
Let's see here. Okay, so let's see. My computer just yelled at me. So we'll have the commemorative QSL cards. I want to thank Dean Kantz, N3HOG at High Power Antennas. Dean is providing us with one of the high power OCF 40 antennas. Randy Dorman, KB3 IFH QSLs, is helping us with the QSL cards. Sam Cosmano at Cable Experts is giving us a heck of a deal on the coax to get our antennas. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank my dear friend Ann for her gracious help with this thing. I drive her crazy. I bug her to death. Paul Blair, who's the theater manager there. Andy Morrison, who's K9AWM. He's at WVUB, which is the radio station there at Vincennes, and with Old Post Amateur Radio Society. Joe Calvert, K9YSL, who's the club president, and Phil Smith, AA9ZZ. So we're getting a lot of help, but we need some volunteers to get in, help us a little bit with the installation, but mostly to get on the air with us and have a little fun during the K9R Red Skelton special event in July.
Okay, thank you, Mark, and thank you, Ann, for taking the time of sharing this really neat event. And those of us that are amateur radio operators, and those of us that are like Ann, I'm a history major, so the history of the area of around Vincennes and around the museum, and of course, who doesn't remember Red Skelton's Pledge of Allegiance? That's just a classic of all time for all of us here, and especially with what we've been through in the last year or so. This is just perfect timing. Thanks again, Mark. Thanks again, Ann. Please keep us abreast as to what's happening and things that are going on in that world. And hopefully we'll be back again with some more details and information. Again, if you want to volunteer, send Mark an email.
K9R Red Skelton Museum Special Event Facebook group. and K9R special event, all no spaces, K9R special event at gmail.com. Okay.
That sounds great. Thanks, Ann. Thanks,
Thank
Mark.
you.
73 all. This is Jack Prindle, AB4WS in Big Bone, Kentucky. Calling clear for a special AB4WS radio show.
7-3.